Yeah, I think BDS is for sure strong, but I wouldn't say they're like a top team. I think it's kind of best of fans, and they are good, but I think we are better than them, even though we lost.
Hey guys, this is Pedro and I'm back with a brand new interview. This time I'm accompanied by Humanoid of Fnatic, fresh off of the end of the LEC 2024 Winter Split regular season, in which they finished 5-4 for the regular season, and thus at the moment of the recording finishing in top 4. And so Humanoid, like I said before the start of this conversation, thank you so much for taking the time. I just want to start off by just covering this recent match that you guys had against Team Heretics, where you guys defeated them in dominant fashion, I might say. And so, what do you feel was the difference, the biggest difference when it came to taking down such a team like Heretics in the way that you guys did?
I think we managed to get a lot of hooks, like a random catch to with good strength, which helped a lot in the mid game. The only bad thing was that we got double by Pedro and bot, but other than that, I think we played really well in the mid game and end of the game as well, other than this one play. So yeah.
Yeah, because it really felt like the match was over at the start, basically at the start, and it was basically a snowball kind of thing for you guys in favor of you guys, and so um, you kind of expect that the result would play out as it did against Heretics.
I mean, I was confident that we would win. I didn't know if we would stop them or anything like that. But I think we were the favorites at least coming to the game.
Yeah, and it's a great result to have, at the end of the third week of this past regular season, despite, at the start of this week where you guys lost to Mad Lions and also G2, two very well formidable opponents in their own right. And so, taking a look back as to the start of that week or this week, what do you feel was the biggest issues that faced this team that led to your eventual defeats against Mad Lions and also G2?
I mean, I don't feel like there were any specific big issues in those games. I think both games were just really close, and it came down to kind of like small decision-making mistakes, and both games could have gone either way. So yeah, I think just on another day we could have won both of those games, and there was not like something big that we were doing wrong.
What do you feel was the cause for such defeats? Despite having the feeling that you guys could have taken that to your favor.
Uh, and probably just the team fights were sometimes not going our way. We were maybe a bit too over aggressive in those games, and then we got behind.
hmm Yeah, and as I mentioned at the start of this conversation for the intro, you guys finished within the top four with a 5-4 overall record. And so, with that said, with the conclusion of the regular season, I'd now like to cover your thoughts as to how the team played out this entire regular season, not just focusing on week 3, but also all 3 weeks combined. And so when you look at the teams showing um, in this past regular season, what do you feel was the biggest positive and also the biggest negative for Fnatic at this moment in time?
I think the biggest positive is that we can be really aggressive and proactive, especially if we are ahead. We can kind of close out the game pretty fast usually. Uh, Negatives are, I think, just sometimes we make bad team fights, like just some miscommunication in team fights, and then it's just like a 3v5 fight. Uh, and yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that we have to work on.
So you feel like the team hasn't really gone on the same page, like communication, like not really been having the same kind of synergy that boosted you guys forward in past splits?
I think most of the games it was fine, but just in some of the games we lost, there was like some small miscommunication, and then yeah, then went into the fight that we lost, especially in the Madlands game, I think. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and piggybacking off of that a little bit, now focusing towards your play within the winter split with this recent match that you played against Team Heretics. It was the third time in a row that you played Corki, and of course, it's a champion that basically been present throughout this entire regular season so far, and so before you started playing this champion, you haven't really touched it since summer of 2022. And so, what are your thoughts on playing the champion, Corki specifically, and what do you think about his place within the game as of this moment in time, before this new patch that was just recently released and then will then get put into play in the future?
I mean, Corki is for sure like one of the strongest champs right now. I think his ability to have package on every single Drake is really big. Because with package, this champion is just super strong, and you can combo it with some CC like Vi, and just one shot the enemy backline. And when there's little counterplay, and he also scales really well. His only problem is his weak early game and weak like before he gets Manamune. So, but other than that, if you can survive, I think he's just insanely good.
How would you rate your play on the champion? Like as of now, given that you've now been able to play this champion for all of this week.
I mean, I think I played pretty well so far. For sure, not perfect, but I'm pretty satisfied.
Yeah, and now sticking with you, but not just focusing on your playing that champion. Um, it's been quite a few years since you started joining and playing with Fnatic and seeing various iterations of the team for the past 3 years, including this one that's still ongoing right now. And when I see your place within the team, it reminds me of a conversation that I had with Resort last week about how he is kind of emerged as a captain, as a leader, and how he referred to you as like one of the main reasons as to why he's been able to do that. And basically, you guys collaborating with each other to then um, give the direction for the team in matches and also outside of that in terms of preparation. And so, when you look at your place within the team right now and you compare that to how you were when you joined the roster or this org in particular, um, what do you feel is the biggest difference that you feel you've made to yourself as a leader or maybe as a teammate slash stuff like that from the past to the present?
Uh, I mean, I think I'm trying to be more of a like a main leader, I would say, in game. We are basically with Razork, I guess, because right now it's either me or him, usually just calling what we do in the overall like map gameplay. So maybe at the start when I joined, I wasn't doing it that much. So I think now I'm just doing it way more.
Mhm. And what do you feel? I know you mentioned a little bit about issues in the communications aspect. What are some other issues that you feel needs to be addressed within the team as you guys now move forward to the next stage of this winter split? Besides communications.
Uh, Probably just our laning phase. Sometimes we get behind in the early game, but that's kind of normal. Sometimes you have an off day and you just lose lane. Happens. Other than that, I don't think there's like any huge issues that we have.
Mhm. And a few more questions before we wrap it up. Now that you uh, um, been able to play against all the other teams within the LEC at least once. for this year so far. What do you feel? Which team do you feel was presented the biggest challenge towards Fnatic and also yourself as a mid laner, in your opinion?
Well, G2 is the strongest for sure. And after that, I would say maybe Madlands. I think, yeah, that's it.
What do you think about BDS? Because they're, as of now, the first place team, despite of course, losing to Carmine Core earlier on in the day. But what do you feel? How do you rate BDS?
Yeah, I think BDS is for sure strong, but I wouldn't say they're like a top team. I think, yeah, it's kind of best of fans, and they are good, but I think we are better than them, even though we lost.
And it's just a matter of just making sure you guys are able to fulfill that sentiment and just take down the top teams in the next stage. And so about the next stage, what's the mentality like for the team as you guys now start playing those best of threes against the rest of the remaining teams within the league? How are you guys going to tackle it for this next stage?
I'm maybe not going to do anything special. We're just going to prepare for the team that we face. I think everyone right now is really confident, and I think we're going to be even more confident going to next week because it's kind of easier to play if it's not the best of one, I think. So, and usually I'm more confident in those in those matches as well. So I think it will just go well.
Mhm. And hopefully it does turn out as such in the future for you and the rest of Fnatic. Humanoid, thank you so much for taking the time. I really do appreciate you answering all of my questions, and best of luck in
Thank
the
you.
future.
Thank you.